Okay, folks, it is Sunday, December 10th, 2023, and I'm about an hour and 6 minutes behind for my normal 7 o'clock starting time, and I apologize for that, but had a busy day and had a Christmas celebration at church, so that kept me busy for a little while longer. But welcome and thank you for joining us. We are DPF guys based in Atlanta, Georgia. We focus 100% on diesel aftertreatment services for anything with a diesel engine and emission systems. Most of our customers are truck drivers and fleets, but we also service after treatment for off road equipment, diesel passenger vehicles, and stationary equipment. With DPF systems, it's going to mean generators, pumps, rock crushers, and more. Big or small, on road or off road, moving or stationary, if it has a DPF, we can clean it. You hear that TikTok? We can clean it. Disclaimer: you should always, always, always talk to your mechanic about any concerns you have with your engine or truck, and any pricing discussed here may or may not apply to you and should only be used as a guideline and is not any form of official quote for any services by us, DPF guys, or anybody else for that matter. So, what we do here, real simple, is we collect your questions that come in throughout the week. And then I sit down here for a bit on a Sunday evening and record this live. It is playing on YouTube. If you jump over to the DPF Guys YouTube channel and subscribe, that would be awesome. Also, I'm looking up here. You guys can't see this, but I'm also streaming live on TikTok right now. I have a few people in the chat right now. I'll be answering questions from them as well. So once we finished up this YouTube live, we will be going live, continue to be live on TikTok and answering questions and hanging out and doing some stuff that we normally don't do on YouTube or Facebook, things like that. So, those of you watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this live, you can also check out the behind the scenes live on TikTok. For those of you watching on TikTok up here, thanks for watching. It's awesome. Share this thing out. Get some more people on here. I will be here answering your questions after I finish the live on YouTube. So if you asked a question for me, of me, and I haven't gotten it to you yet, just hang tight. I will definitely get at your questions as well. Okay, let's get started here. Oh, by the way, we are having the weekly hat giveaway. And if you text the word hat, HAT, to our main number, it's textable, 404-999-1361. We will collect and go through those submissions and at random pick somebody who text the word hat, HAT, to 404-999-1361. And every week, one lucky winner gets a DPF Guys hat, as you can see here. All right, so we'll turn that off and let's go to our first question. Excuse me. It is: I hear you refer to the Freightliner aftertreatment system as being by Detroit. Does Detroit manufacture the aftertreatment for Freightliner? Fair enough. So Freightliner was purchased by Mercedes, or more specifically Daimler-Benz AG, from Consolidated Freightways 42 years ago. That was back in 1981. Detroit Diesel is a subsidiary of Daimler, and Daimler and is headquartered in Detroit, Michigan, hence the name Detroit. Detroit Diesel has been making engines since 1938 and has sold more than 5 million engines, with over 1 million engines on the road even today. The aftertreatment and emission systems for the smaller DD5 and DD8 engines are built by a company called Tenneco, and they're based out of Lake Forest, Illinois. Tenneco is an $8.6 billion company and has around 30,000 employees worldwide. I researched the one box for the DD15 engines, and it appears that the one box is actually designed and built by Daimler and not by Tenneco. But please correct me if I'm wrong on this. I'm assuming it's built by Mercedes. And in 2022, Daimler-Benz AG split into two companies: the Mercedes-Benz Group, which focuses entirely on the consumer car and van market, and Daimler Truck, which manufactures commercial vehicles such as the Freightliner and Western Star trucks, now is handled by Daimler. And So to answer your question, it is common for people to refer to the one box as a Detroit one box, when technically it should be called the Daimler. I pronounced that wrong. One box, but since Daimler owns Detroit, I don't think it really matters all that much, unless you want to really be a diesel nerd about it. Um, I think you know what I'm talking about if I say a Detroit one box. Also, it does the one box does have the Detroit Diesel logo stamped in it, so it's easier to call it a Detroit one box, but, Mercedes or Daimler, owns Detroit and also makes the one box and also owns Freightliner, so it's all kind of in the same family. Anyway, so onward, question number 2. Speaking of Freightliner, I have an almost new Generation 5 Freightliner with less than 50,000 miles on it, and I'm having DPF issues already. Is this normal? So, no, it's not normal. On a Freightliner with a one box, the manufacturer's recommended interval for cleaning that thing is 400,000 miles. And that might be a little bit generous. Maybe you should do it every 200, 250, 300, but it's 400,000 miles from the manufacturer. And I see people coming in here all the time with Freightliners with half a million and 600,000 miles on them, and they've never gotten the one box cleaned. So 50,000 miles is nothing. The truck's barely warmed up. So you should not be having DPF issues. And but I'll tell you, there is something going on with the Gen 5 Freightliner and the after treatment. So originally, I was pretty excited about the new one box that is on all Gen 5 Freightliners because they simplified the design and made it about 30% smaller and also lighter. And the one box I've always found to be a fairly complex piece of equipment. It's not too bad once you get to know it, but there's a lot of bells and whistles on that thing that kind of make it a little harder to work on, potentially a little less reliable. But the Gen 5 one box has only one filter instead of two, and one set of clamps and gaskets inside instead of two of everything in the previous generation, which reduces the cost of the cleaning as well as the cost of parts needed to maintain the one box. However, we have experienced an almost 100% failure rate of the DPF filters on the Gen 5 one boxes, where they come in with 50,000 or even less miles. I saw one with 40,000 miles on it, and the filters are already cracked and are bypassing soot into the SCR. So I made a TikTok about this, and let me actually pull that baby up and play it. Hold on a second here. Give me a memento. All right, let's go. Let's go full screen on that baby. I'm showing a video about the new one box, by the way. All right. So let me pause this. So there you have it. On the Gen 5 one boxes, we've had filters cracking and it makes no sense. I don't know if there's something going on upstream or if there was a bad batch of DPFs, but something is definitely not right. Um, so whatever the case, the Gen 5 one box appears to have some serious issues, and we hope to get to the bottom of it soon. And if anybody out there has an idea what might be causing this, anybody who works at Freightliner and is dealing with this, I would really like to know what's going on so we can help people resolve the issue. Um, all right, here's another really good question. Number three. In off-road equipment, does red dye diesel fuel affect the DPF system differently than standard diesel fuel? Great question. So, and the answer is there is no difference between red dye, off-road, or farm diesel, which is not subject to road taxes, and the non-red dye diesel used for automobiles and trucks, other than the color and the taxes you pay. So, off-road diesel, often known as farm diesel, serves as a specialized type of dyed diesel fuel. The purpose for the dye is so that um, because the fuel is exactly the same. So they add red dye to off-road diesel, and if you ever get inspected on the road and they dip your tank and see red dye in it, you're in trouble. So it's just designed to determine whether the fuel was properly taxed or not. Um, so it's a specialized type of diesel. It's dyed and it's built specifically for non-road vehicles and equipment. Um, and anything that's not on the road. So it's the lifeblood of various industrial and agricultural applications, powering heavy machinery like cranes, earth movers, and loaders. The beauty of off-road diesel lies in its tax exemption, making it a pocket-friendly choice for these unique needs. As of today, um, and as of Wikipedia or wherever I found this, federal government collects about 24.4 cents per gallon for on-road diesel, and the states will charge you anywhere from 12 cents to 67 cents per gallon for on-road diesel. Um, and unless you were in Georgia, well, they suspended the gas tax, but you'll still pay 24.4 cents per gallon for federal road taxes and between 12 and 67 cents per gallon for state road taxes. This means that the red dyed off road diesel will be between 36.4 cents and 91.4 cents per gallon cheaper than on road diesel due to the taxes. And if you're burning off road diesel in an on road vehicle, it is considered to be tax evasion, and you'll be subject to a fine of $10 per gallon of non taxed diesel in your tanks, capped at $1,000 for the first offense. With multiple vehicles, in other words, you get a whole fleet of on-road trucks that you happen to be topping off with your off-road diesel. The Or if you've done it multiple times and got caught, those repeat offenses quickly equal fines exceeding $10,000 plus some time in the federal clink for good measure if you're not careful. So, mechanically, from a standpoint of the engine and the after treatment system, not a problem in the world to burn a red diesel in your engine when it comes to the DPF because it's identical chemically to undyed diesel. But if you get caught during an inspection, you will get slapped with a fine or even have to spend time in jail and end up having to be somebody's wife. So so there's no difference other than the fact that one is taxed and one is not. And if you do get caught driving non-taxed diesel fuel on the road, you can definitely get yourself into a pickle. So there you go. All right, what do you got? Number four. Um, Oh, that was a cool video where you used a drone to look underneath the Ram 2500. What sort of drone is that, and do you recommend it? So first, let me show you the video that this guy is talking about. So let me show that to you first. I gotta quick find it here and stream it. Bear with me a second. I'm gonna pause that. I'm my own producer here, so bear with me a second. All right, so we got this, and then we're gonna go here and here and check out this video. There we go. This is actually taking this footage with a drone. You can see it on YouTube if you wanna see it, otherwise there's the TikTok videos on TikTok. 1361. I'm so funny. I like that like, follow, and share thing. Um, alright, let's get back in here. Okay, so the question was, what kind of drone did I use to do that? I wanted to show what the underside of that Ram 2500 looked like, and the brand new DPF guy's drone did a really nice job of doing it. So I just flew it underneath the truck and got some great 4K video. And thanks to a recommendation of Brandon Goes Trucking from TikTok, I got a DJI Mini 3 Pro, and I highly recommend it. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of drones here because you could spend all day talking about it. But the Mini 3 is identical to this drone, except it doesn't have the collision avoidance stuff, which is super handy. So I definitely recommend the Pro version. And I also recommend getting the controller with the screen built in, but the same drone will also work with a controller that you hook up to your phone for a few bucks less. So the DJI Mini 3 Pro is our drone of choice, and I'd recommend the DJI drone with confidence. So thanks for your question. Glad you liked the video. If anybody out there has any other ideas about what we should do with our new drone, let me know. We'll definitely do it for you. All right, what is number 5? Oh, here we go. This is also a question about a forklift. Remember, we said we do off road and on road stuff. There are plenty of big, heavy duty diesel forklifts, and the newer ones do have after treatment. So the concern of the owner of this forklift, it's a big 26,000 pound forklift, that it isn't driven like a truck for a steady amount of time, and will they need cleaning more frequently? Any suggestions or comments to help it last longer is much appreciated. Yes, and a fuel additive could help, and I'll talk more about the fuel additives coming up here in the next show. Synthetic oil, what else? Um, and currently, we're using red dye diesel fuel. Does that affect the DPF system? So, like I said before in the previous question, the red dye does not affect the DPF system. Don't worry about that. Good oil, good synthetic oil, definitely will help you, and a fuel additive would definitely help. Will help anybody, but definitely in a forklift situation like you've got. So the question came in from a TikTok viewer in California who's got a big, badass 26,000 pound forklift with a DPF system. So let's take a look at some of these photos here. Hang on a second. Um, I want to get in here. Let's take a look at this thing. Okay, so here is the forklift in question, and you can see that it's got in the above in the back, it's got that DPF assembly. I'm going to find another photo here. Hang on a second. And if anybody out there is familiar with what these DPFs look like, this is just a Cummins DPF assembly, very similar to what's on I believe, a 6.7, might be a 6.7 engine in there. What we're looking at from this angle is the the DOC, kind of a pancake type DOC, and then after that would be the DPF. You can't see that because it's attached to that, and then it'll work its way around. And on the right hand side is the SCR. So this is no different than a DPF assembly off of a truck. Um, so this forklift has a Cummins engine, and this has the same DOC, DPF, and SCR that you'd find on many of the semi trucks out there. And these forklift DPF systems can be cleaned just as easily and effectively as any other system out there. And I understand your concern about how a forklift may not generate enough heat to properly regen the system. You're correct. You're not driving a forklift on Highway 75 at 80 miles per hour for hours at a time. And if you are, I would love to see that. However, the ACM, or the after treatment control module, monitors the system and will put the forklift into a regen whenever it is needed, whenever there's a buildup of soot. My only recommendation is that you allow the regen to happen. Many times, people, the truck or the forklift will go into regen, and then the operator interrupts the regen, and that's fine for the first few times, but eventually it gets pretty plugged up. So if you're using a forklift with a diesel engine and the after treatment and after treatment it goes into a regen, it won't take but a few minutes. So just grab a soda or a cup of coffee, have a cigarette, let it complete the regen, and go back to work. If you interrupt the regen too frequently, the rig will eventually be unable to regen at all, and you'll have to send the parts uh, to us for cleaning. Otherwise, just watch the engine hours and get the thing cleaned about every 3,500 hours or so, and you will be just fine. All right. What is number six? Okay, number six. Why is Cummins PACCAR only selling new filters? So I'm not aware of that specifically, but I will tell you that originally Cummins PACCAR did not approve getting their filters cleaned, but that changed about 2 years ago when they approved the DPF guys cleaning method for cleaning of any and all Cummins PACCAR filters. So you can use other methods like just compressed air or power washer. Don't ever use a power washer or a garden hose or any number of other tricks people talk about to clean a Cummins PACCAR filter. But the method we use is the only one that can be done where your warranty will still be valid, and it's really the only one that works really, really well. The reason you don't want to clean your DPF halfway is it may be good enough to get you back on the road again, but you're going to be plugged up again way too soon. And if you leave junk in the DPF, it will eventually sinter, kind of bake, and you can't get it out at all, and you have to replace the filter. So you are correct. In the past, Cummins PACCAR used to not allow their filters to be cleaned, but now that our method is one of the methods approved to clean a Cummins PACCAR filter, you can get your filters cleaned and not compromise your performance or your warranty. So if you've got Cummins filters, um, and need them cleaned, we can take care of that. 404-999-1361. And we also have a decent stock of many different cleaned, ready to go, quote unquote, reman OEM Cummins filters that we sell and offer a 1-year warranty on. So if if you need a filter, give us a call. All right. What is number 7? What is the cost of DOC filter replacement in one box? Okay. This is an easy one. Now, again, I might be interpreting your question wrong, but let's answer it like you're literally asking about the DOC in the one box. Um, this is an easy one to answer because the DOC in a one box cannot be replaced. The one box, neither the DOC nor the SCR can be replaced. They're built into the one box itself. And if you have an SCR failure or a DOC failure, guess what? You are in the market for a new one box. Now, we do sell new ones with 3-year warranties, all that type of stuff. So if you need a one box, call us first, and let us see if we can help you. If not, you'll learn some good stuff. So, and there are actually 2 DOCs in the one box, but neither of them can be replaced without replacing the one box itself. And the same applies for the SCR in the one box. If you damage your DOC or SCR in a one box, you need to get a new one box. However, I have personally worked on literally hundreds of one boxes over the past few years. And while I've seen my share of failed one boxes, I have never seen a one box fail due to a bad DOC. Now, it doesn't mean that tomorrow I won't see one. Maybe I've just been lucky. But I haven't seen anything yet. So I need to ask, anybody who is asking this, like, what about replacing the DOC in the one box? What makes you think you need to replace the DOC in your one box? You may be having a totally separate issue with something else, like a stuck Jake brake or dirty seventh injector or failing seventh injector that can be fixed without having to replace the one box. You may also just have a face plug DOC in your one box that we could fix and clean up for you. Or maybe you leaked some coolant into the one box. That's generally not an issue either. Maybe you leaked some oil into the one box. That's also not an issue. We can take care of that as well. Keep in mind, it can cost a few $100 more for us to handle kind of these odd jobs and can take a day or two longer, but it can save you $10,000 on a new one box as well. So, um, if you are watching this and if that's your question, make sure you call us or text us 404-999-1361 before anybody puts a new one box on their truck, whether it be from us or from Freightliner. Um, talk to us first because yes, there are times it's just bad news. You have to replace the one box, but half the time you don't. So it's worth the phone call. We're nice to talk to and it doesn't cost anything to talk to us. So, if you've got a one box issue, give us a call. If you need one, we can get you one. If you want to get it from the dealer, still that's fine. But we can definitely help you out. And like I said, anybody on TikTok that wants to check me out or anybody on YouTube that wants to check us out on TikTok, jump on TikTok, find the DPF guys live, and we'll be answering some more questions here. We got two more to go, but we'll be focusing on the people that are on TikTok right now and answering those questions as well. Okay, number 8. Number 8 is, I'll read this verbatim. Rolling coal is not actually that bad. Trees are nature's filter and they feed on carbon. So, this is a comment and not a question, but I think it's worth talking about, and which is why I put it in here. So, what is rolling coal? If you don't know, it's billowing black smoke coming out of your stacks or your tailpipe. And while it might look really cool for some people, the particulate matter or soot is incredibly hazardous to breathe. In fact, just as a side note, um, if if you're a trucker and you're parking overnight in a truck stop and you pull up next to a truck that's deleted because you can see the black smoke on the black soot on their stacks and they're idling because they want to idle the truck to keep it warm or cool overnight, move. You don't want to be standing, sleeping next to that thing, breathing the particulate matter off of that. Now, again, if you did it one night, 2 nights, it's not going to bother you. But if you're doing this for a living and every night you're spending 8 or 10 hours breathing diesel particulate soot, that will not be good for you. Um, so rolling coal is just no bueno. It's bad to breathe. Now you're in the cab, you just see it in your rearview mirror, but you don't realize that soot is getting over everybody that's around there. Also, I am not a tree doctor, but I do play one on TV. So trees do not feed off of carbon soot particles. Trees consume carbon dioxide or CO2, which is an invisible, odorless gas and not black soot. In fact, every time I breathe out, I am breathing out CO2, and somewhere a plant or a tree is going to gobble that up and do something with it. I'm not breathing out black smoke. So there is a difference between CO2 and just black soot, rolling coal. Trees and all photosynthetic plants take in CO2 from the air. All mammals, such as you and me, guess what? We breathe CO2, which is the oxygen cycle. The plants, consume the CO2 and emit oxygen. And so once they absorb the CO2, they combine it with water and then use the energy that they get from the sun through photosynthesis to turn the CO2 and water into sugars for their energy. Trees, in turn, plants in general, burn the sugars to grow and release oxygen as a byproduct of that chemical reaction. So, no, while rolling coal may impress your friends and may make you feel pretty manly while you do it, none of that black soot you are dumping into the air behind you is helping the trees or anything else. So, according to science, rolling coal is actually just an indication that you're sort of a selfish dick, but it doesn't help the trees. You may think it's cool, but it doesn't help the trees. Um, all right, number 9. Does deleting a DPF always void the warranty? In a nutshell, yes. Now, again, this may vary by manufacturer or even dealership. Some people may choose to look the other way, but I do know that most major manufacturers will void every single warranty on the truck if your truck is deleted and not just exhaust related warranties. So, this true story, I've heard this a couple of times, but I've got one firsthand story. A friend bought a deleted truck, didn't think much about it until his transmission failed while the transmission was still under the powertrain warranty. And the dealership um, said, we'll be happy to fix this transmission issue under warranty. But guess what? We're going to keep your truck and you have to spend $14,000 to undo your delete before we're going to fix your transmission. So Yes, a delete will always void your warranty, but you may get lucky and find a shop that looks the other way. But if they do get caught with working on a deleted truck, they can get in big trouble for doing it both with the EPA and with the manufacturer themselves. So, again, you know, you can argue for deletes, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not the police, I'm not the EPA, but I want everybody to understand that a delete has consequences, and it always has consequences. Some of them really serious, some not that serious. Some of them, are very serious, but the odds of you getting caught are not that great. But it happens. Um, and keep in mind that the doing the delete means that you purchase the delete kit from somebody, and um, if that company, not so much if, but when that company gets caught, because they all do get caught, guess what the EPA does? They dig through all of their records and they find all of their customers, and then they go after the customers. So, um, just realize that having a delete is something you should keep on the down low and probably not do at all. But if you do it, you have to be willing to accept the consequences, such as the fines, potential damage to your truck, not being able to go to a dealership, voiding warranty, et cetera, et cetera. So, yes, it voids your warranty. And no, I do not recommend it. Um, and then I've got another delete question. Last but not least, question number 10: is it illegal to sell a deleted vehicle? Now, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not trying to give you legal advice here, but it is definitely illegal for a dealership to sell a deleted vehicle, even if the delete is disclosed, unless the truck is just being sold for parts. I mean, they can if the intent is that this truck is not going to be driven on the roads, it's going to be parted out. Doesn't matter if it's deleted. Um, but really it shouldn't be sold. So I don't know what the law is for a private party selling a deleted truck, but I suspect that the laws may not apply to a private seller as much as they do to a dealer or even at all. However, if you are a buyer and you bought a deleted truck from a dealer and you get caught, you will probably be fined, maybe not, but you'll be fined maybe a little bit for having a deleted truck. But more importantly, the person who sold it to you will be fined even more, and if they are a dealer, the penalties are much, much stiffer for them. Also, whether it was a dealer that sold you the deleted truck or a private party, they are responsible for either giving you your money back and taking the truck back from you, or they're required to pay to get the truck undeleted. So if you're selling a deleted truck and you're a private party and the person who bought it is aware of the delete, you're all good until you aren't, because no matter how friendly the buyer is or how cool they are or how excited they are to have bought a deleted truck, and even if they're 100% aware, I assure you that if the buyer does get pinched for having a delete, they'll snitch on you, and then you have all sorts of trouble to deal with. So imagine you sell a deleted truck to somebody. They're like, "This is awesome. It's deleted. That's fantastic. This is what I'm looking for. You're my best friend, blah, blah, blah." And then, 2.5 years later, they get caught, and what are they gonna say? "Well, I didn't know it was deleted. Who'd you get it from?" "This guy." And guess who then the black SUV pulls up in your driveway, and you begin to have a very bad day. If you are a dealer, and you should know this already, do not even think about buying or selling a deleted truck under any circumstances unless you are buying or selling the truck entirely for scrap. But you just don't wanna deal with deleted trucks if you can avoid it. Um, and that is it. So there you have it. I'm gonna put my phone number up here if you need to get hold of us. Definitely text us or call us. Some your questions, my answers. Definitely bring more in. I'm gonna quick check to see anything else in the chat here. We do not have anything else in the chat, so we're pretty clean there. Um, and remember, if you want to potentially win a hat, text hat to 404-999-1361, and we will pick one lucky winner and get that shipped out this week. So thank you everybody for watching. People on TikTok, I'm going to be joining you. I'm going to grab my phone and spin around and grab a drink so I can kind of wet my whistle, and we're going to answer your questions. Anybody on YouTube who's watching right now that wants to continue the conversation, jump over to TikTok and go to our live. It's always interesting videos there. So TikTok people, go to YouTube, subscribe. YouTube people, go to TikTok and follow us. Um, So please leave your questions and comments directly below in the comments and or text us at 404-999-1361. I'll be back here next week to answer more of your questions. Also, this is really exciting. In fact, I'm going to show you this right now. If you look, this is backwards on TikTok, but I think it's right on. Yeah, it's right here on YouTube. OTR Performance. I'm going to be unboxing this baby in an upcoming video, and we're going to go through this. And this is a diagnostics tool for truck drivers. It's an app that you install on your phone and then plug into your data port, and you can do regens and a bunch of other stuff. So we're going to be going through this line by line coming up in an upcoming video. So definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel so you see stuff like this. And we're giving one of these away as well in a future contest. So you're going to want to watch us. And then, of course, follow us on TikTok so you can see all these things. So we'll be going over that. It will have some great discounts for anybody who buys the OTR tool using the DPF Guys link. So there's more to come there. And remember to subscribe to the DPF Guys YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, find us on TikTok, and if you're the corporate type, look for me, James Wendt from DPF Guys on LinkedIn, and send me a connection request. Anyway, thanks for walking. Thanks for walking. Thanks for watching, and see you next week. Oh man, I need a producer. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next week.